Lonna Kelly, artist and photographer, and this is Hudson Valley Art Speak. And today I'm talking to Pam White, who is an artist, a photographer, a coach. She does video, just a slew of different things. And thanks for coming today, Pam.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Lonna.
Yeah.
I really appreciate being here.
One of the things I'm most curious about is the coaching that you do. Mm-hmm. You had mentioned to me that it was based on your meditation practice, and that you have been actually doing it for many, many years on a friend, maybe a friend-to-friend basis, as opposed to on a professional basis. Is that
No,
correct?
actually professionally also.
Uh-huh.
When I was a commercial photographer in Boston in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, I found myself being called to assist people in looking at themselves.
Uh-huh.
Some people were doing Alexander work training, and they needed photographs as part of that process. Some people were dancers who were choreographing a piece. They were choreographers, and they wanted to see how they looked. And people who were riders with their horses. So I found myself giving feedback, photographic and video feedback, to a lot of different people. And I realized that there were things I could tell them that they weren't really asking for. And so I started, little by little, giving them information and showing them how to look at themselves. And it tended to just jump their work forward. And so a few years ago, I decided to do it like as a piece of what I do. And now I call it transformational video, which is me videoing you and you talking about whatever you want to be doing and taking your next step. And you can see how committed you are to your project, what emphasis you place on certain goals you thought you might have had. So I help people with their next step and their vision.
So it's unscripted. It's basically
completely unscripted.
Yeah.
And that's where the meditation practice comes in, because for many, many years I both taught meditation and I've gone on long retreats, and for 25 years I was part of a women's group that met regularly. And my move out here sort of cut that off. But that has been a huge part of my being able just to sit there and give the space to whoever it is that I'm talking with. Mm-hmm. And I call my coaching insight coaching, because meditation brings with it insight.
And you feel that it does, whether or not your subject or the person you're working with meditates, you find that you yourself will be able to
it doesn't matter if they meditate.
Yeah.
I do, of course, encourage meditation.
Yeah.
but I'm not I don't force the issue.
And do you find it helps you in your own work and your painting?
Completely.
In your painting work?
Completely, yeah.
I'm looking at the pictures, the paintings here of these horses, which I think I told you once that they remind me of cave drawings.
Oh, yes.
Ancient
yes.
cave drawings,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell me about this one up on top here?
Well, that one I start most of them with this like charcoal line.
Uh-huh.
And then the outlines get painted over. But that one, I do the charcoal, and then I put in gold metal leaf. And then as I meditate on it, many of these were taken over periods of time. They didn't happen, like very quickly.
So you start a piece, and then you kind of put it aside and let it.
Mm-hmm. And before I start the piece, when I put the paper or canvas on the wall, empty, I put my hands on it and I ask for an image. Uh-huh. And I work for a long time, perhaps, without putting anything on it, just touching with my hands. And then charcoal is very nice because it gives me various degrees of hardness. So I start with very soft charcoal. So I can do it over and over again until the image starts to come through. And then I put the charcoal that stays, that you can see.
And then you start working with the colors and with
The colors, I just ask for the colors. And I have this joke that I say I paint what I see. Like, I saw that horse, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it, just what comes to me. I use color a lot in what I wear even. I look at my clothes, and sometimes people go, oh, nice colors, meaning that I have put a lot of, you know, perhaps
crazy colors together.
together.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's what came to me that day.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that. I was talking to somebody who's a potter one day, and she works with pinks and greens and blues all the time. And I was doing an interview with her, and she showed me one of her pots, and she had on the same colors
Right.
that she was talking about.
That happens to me a lot. Or I'll paint a wall and then I'll hang the picture, and people go, wow, you really like thought that out. And I'm like, no. You know, so there's not a lot of thought, but there's a lot of meditation and time spent with both the actual the ink or the acrylic or the different media that I use and the type of paper. I will spend a long time choosing a piece of paper.
So I can see you've used a different backing material, different paper, different, you know, board or wood for each one of these paintings that we have here.
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Yeah. Now, how does that work with photography, though? That meditative process must be very different when you're taking photographs, is it?
I don't think so, because when I'm really in tune with the subject, whether it's a flower or a person, I often found as a commercial photographer, back in the days when I actually used film, now I don't have this same the same thing that happens, but I would find the last 3 photographs on a roll of 35 millimeter with 35 exposure film, they would be the best. And I found that was partly the person who I was photographing would get more and more comfortable. So I had this thing for a while where I can click the shutter on the old cameras. You can click the shutter without advancing the film.
Yes.
And so I would do that, and then I would get more. You know, I would get a little. I'd get more frames per roll.
Right.
But now I can just, you know, click away and hit delete, and
yeah, you can take thousands of pictures and not use up anything.
Exactly.
Just
as long as I have
memory.
As long as I have a big enough memory card, I'm golden.
Right. So you started as a photographer, though. Is that correct? And then you do you consider yourself more of a painter now, or how did you get into being a painter?
I got into painting in a one of those sort of catastrophic ways. As a photographer for many years, and I started when I was 8. My mother gave me this imp camera that you would take. It had 8 photographs in it, and you would take them and then send the whole camera back and get your little envelope of 8 prints. And so I did that when I was 8 and 9. And then I gradually got cameras as I got older. But in 92, I was adjusting a beach chair, and my right index finger got lopped off. And it was 3 years before I could press the shutter.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten a residency, an artist's residency in Virginia. And I called them up and I said, could it be a painting one? Because I realized I could cover my hand with rubber gloves and protect it, but I could not put any pressure on it. So I got a painting studio and a month's worth of space and food and all that stuff that you get at
Yeah.
artist colonies. And I just took, because I was still a photographer in my mind, I took my trays, and I didn't really get how to put paint on paper, and I just put the paint in the tray and did stuff, and then I hung it on the walls, and my walls were just covered with orange and red and all this stuff that people who came in would call it the birthing room. And I did feel that, because it birthed me as a painter. And I'd always been a little afraid of paint and being a painter. So that was a big thing.
Right. So a lot of your themes are of animals, of animals that live very closely with people, horses and
Right.
dogs. But also one of your major themes is birds.
Yes.
Yes. So you do a lot of birds.
Yes. I think that the birds they are all beings of spirit. And when I first began meditating, I spent time, there's a thing called bare attention, where you just look at what is. You don't think good or bad, you don't think bluebird or hummingbird, you just see the being for what it is. And I think that made a huge impact on me, so I just look at a thing as a thing. And I think that is why I choose beings that are close to me.
So that sounds like it's kind of your personal vision to choose in that manner. It's a very personal thing. It's not like you're painting impersonally. It's a very deep and involved process for you.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I take the painting as a. I once heard one of those TV painterly people, and he said, "Paint what you see. God will love you for that." And that wasn't really my ethos, but I so appreciated what he said, and I thought, yeah, that's really what we do, is to give people who see it the view or a different view of what's out there already. And I always hope that I can present it in such a way that they can take it in and just appreciate where they are more, because we all start where we are. If we don't, we take a big trip because we have to put our foot next. We are not the mythic character who can leap across continents.
True, we have to go step by step by step. Well, if somebody wanted to see more of your work, where could they see it? I believe you have a website. What is
I have
the
a
address?
website, yeah. It's pammwhite.com or Pam White Art. And both will lead, they both have links to both sites.
Right. And there's also artistduchess.com, which you have a page on for the Artist Open Studio Tour. And thanks for coming tonight, Pam, and for talking about your work and giving us some insight on what you do and how you do it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.